Well, we are ready to hit the road. Archery deer season 2025. Let's go. So I got into archery about 3 to 4 years ago, and I really just thought it'd be something fun to do, something cool to get into. And some friends of mine kind of convinced me to put in for tags, and my first year I drew 2 tags, a mule deer and an antelope tag out here in Nevada. And that really kind of kicked things into gear, and I wanted to be prepared and ready to go. So really kind of dove full force into it and really tried to learn as much as I could and shot as much as I could. And unfortunately, the first 2 years was unsuccessful. My antelope hunt, we did spot and stock. We didn't sit in any water and just thought it'd be a little more fun and really challenging. And mule deer got pretty close, sat in about 47 yards from one on a side of a kind of cliff face. And I think the wind swirled and he ended up spooking. So there was a lot of work that went into those hunts, and it was a lot of fun. And it was definitely a bummer to not get anything, but it was a lot of time and hard work spent and a lot of lessons learned. My third year going in, I did not draw any tags. So that was really more about just kind of tinkering with my setup. I ended up getting a new bow, got the Matthews Lift 29.5, and got a new thumb button release, got new arrows, and really just learned more about the archery, learned more about my bow, learned more about a shot process, and just really kind of dove into learning a lot more. That kind of led to some cool opportunities. I got to go shoot with Dan from Elk Shape up in Washington, made a really cool video with him, and then was really kind of diving into this year because I drew mule deer and a bull elk tag out here in Nevada. The bull elk tag is a very special tag out here. Once you draw it, you can't put in for it for another 7 years. And I was already 3 or 4 years into putting in for this tag. And so it kind of put a lot of pressure on me to make sure that I was really ready for this hunt. You know, mule deer is a very special hunt as well, but you can put in for mule deer every year. So I wanted to be prepared for that, and I wanted to be successful, but I was also real nervous about this bull elk tag. And I thought that the mule deer tag right before it would be a good learning lesson and practice for this elk hunt, although they're very different, but it would just be some more good practice. I ended up doing a lot of local shoots out here. There's a league out here in Reno that they start in the summertime, so I did as many of those as I could. Really just trying to get out and shoot the bow as much as possible and really make sure my setup was dialed in and I felt really confident in it. The mule deer hunt I was really excited for. I drew a party tag with my cousin who, lives out in the area and knows it really well. He was kind of honed in on one buck out there, so he spent a lot of time looking for this one specific buck, and we got on a lot of deer out there, which was different than my first few hunts. It took me a while to kind of find some, so it was really cool just to get in them right away with him. And well, we are ready to hit the road. Archery deer season 2025. Let's go. This is always the kind of bittersweet moment, is getting on the road. It's also probably the hardest time of getting everything packed, especially with the 2 kiddos and life being crazy. But this is a bittersweet moment. I hate leaving the family, but I'm also excited for the adventure to come. I love being, it's kind of like basically a camping / backpacking trip. And hopefully you get to see some awesome wildlife, and if we're lucky enough, hopefully get an ethical shot on a deer and come home with some meat. So, pretty pumped. Bittersweet moment. We're on the road. Little update on the mountain up here. I'm watching a couple of deer across this ridge. Trying to keep my eye on them. My cousin Jay and my uncle James. They're over there looking for some other bucks. We spotted quite a few nice ones in here yesterday. We did see them earlier this morning, and they all kind of split up down below, so we spotted these ones across the ridge. And we're just watching them now because, I'm not too picky about which one I'd like to go after, so I'm just keeping an eye on these guys and watching to see where they're going to bed. Opening day 2025. Let's go. Alright guys, we came back to camp today, day one season opener. We got up super early at 3:30 this morning and tried getting on some of the bucks that we saw last night. They were a little bit to the right of where they were before, but we ended up finding them, and then they kind of dispersed and went to bed where we couldn't see, so we kind of checked out the other side of the ridge and ended up finding some there, and I think another side-by-side came in, kind of blew those guys out. We ended up eventually finding them again. We went to go look for cow elk because my uncle's got a cow elk tag, and we ran into them. So I ended up actually going down with my cousin. We walked down the back side of the ridge, down a draw, kind of back up, and they were in some willows and some trees and stuff. They bedded down. So we figured he just would go down the ridge, get in the draw, and kind of walk up and slowly try to bump up towards me. Almost worked. I heard them coming up the bottom of the draw in the trees, and then a bunch of loud sticks that they fell on or were jumping over. Got up on the ridge. I ranged him 104. Was broadside looking at me, perfect shot, but obviously not at 104. So anyway, we kind of looked around, found a couple more bucks. Tried to actually, since I bumped those, tried to stalk them again. They bumped out a different way. So anyway, we're back at camp, hanging out. Wanted to show you guys. We just had some lunch. I've got some water and some Wilderness Athlete I just made up for me and Jay. And then check this out as a new part of the setup for the hunting rig. I got a Dometic fridge, which is pretty epic. It's got 2 zones on it right here, so you can see 39 and 30. So the little one I have is my freezer. But pretty epic little thing. And lights turn on. I've got some salami and some drinks and stuff in there. And then I've got it powered up here with a solar panel. And so it's super rad. I've got the solar panel up on top here, just laying up here, wired in through my window down to the battery bank. It's a 96 right now, so the sun is charging this, and then this is powering the cooler, which is pretty sick. It's been running the last couple days I've been here, and with all this full sun, it charges all the way up throughout the day. Drops to about 40, 50, 60 at night the next day. But anyway, pretty awesome little setup for a fridge for camping and hunting. But we are out here at their cabin out here, so where we're hunting. So anyway, quick little midday update. We'll head back out tonight. One of the days we finally decided that, I wanted to be successful on bringing some meat home to the family. So we went out kind of specifically for that mission. And, I was also more focused on being successful than really filming the entire thing. Being new to it, being successful is hard. And then filming is another level, which I'm learning. But ultimately, we went out and explored a little bit of a closer area and kind of came across, I spotted, some bucks across this little draw and in some sagebrush, and we kind of watched them for a little bit, and they ended up bedding in this basically small rock cliff, which was kind of perfect. So we, decided it was time to make a move. So my uncle and I stalked on in. He wanted to kind of show me the ropes a little bit. And because I had made some unsuccessful stalks earlier in the week. Oh man. Well, I guess that's how this goes. Spotted that 4-point. They went and bedded, decided to move. Jay went to go find his buck. So I figured I'd go back down and kind of play the wind and try and get into where I can find him. to my knowledge, I think I did an awesome fucking job for being so new to this, because I played the wind. It was like 6:30 when I headed down. It was like 7:30 when I got down there, and I just played the wind because it was up and down, and I'm in this, like, there's multiple draws, and so I played the wind the whole time down, got right on top of this ridge behind this rock, saw this little 3x2 feeding, and I figured he was with that group because I saw him with them earlier. So normally I thought he was following them, so I thought they'd be farther to the right. So I ranged just across the ridge just to see 75 yards, just to get a range estimate. And then I look down and I see just bedded in the bushes about 15 yards closer, the nice 3x3. And I didn't see the 4-point, but I saw the 3-point. And as soon as I saw him, it looked and saw me, and I was like, shit. And so I just stood there. Another one kind of stood up and looked. We just chilled. They turned, walked, and went to go rebed. So I sat down behind the rock, I was going to give it like 10, 15 minutes. And I think the 4-point stood up and started like blowing at me or whatever, doing the hissing fucking whatever it is, and doing their noise when they, I don't even know how to like explain it, but it's like whatever they do. So he did that like once. So I figured they kind of were spooked about something. So I just stayed there. I was going to let them rebed, just give them time. About a couple minutes later, did it again. A couple minutes later, did it again. And then a couple minutes later, they just all got up and kind of walked. They didn't run. They just got up, all of them, about 10, couple does, couple bucks, about 10 of them got up and walked on up the ridge. So I'm having a hike all the way back up, which took me like an hour to get down, but I was being slow. But I was probably like 50, 60 yards from them, maybe less. So stalked right in, perfect spot. It's just got a little bit caught, and then, yeah, sucks. And he wanted to help me out a little bit, so we stalked in and ended up dropping in. We were about on top of the cliff, probably 10 to 12 feet right above them. Maybe 20 yards away, because 10 feet down, they were about 20 yards away. And so we started ranging bushes and everything around us, kind of waiting and just waiting for things to play out. And then things happen very quick. All of a sudden, I heard my uncle say, shoot. I look over behind this small rock. One of the deer had stood up and spotted us. So I draw back, and as that happens, they all spook and run out, and basically went out into this open field, but stopped and looked back kind of to check on us, which is a pretty typical thing for deer to do. And the first deer I had pulled up on was actually looking away from me, and I saw it was, all I could see is back and antlers. Like, there's just no shot there. So I pivot a little bit to the right to the next one. He's quartering away, looking at me. I hear my uncle say 35 yards, which was one of the bushes. He was by one of the bushes we had ranged. So 30-yard pin high, shot, and hit. It was a little bit back, so we were a little bit concerned for that. So we saw the rest of the deer with the one I shot had ran over the ridge up, and the other 3 he was with went up and over the second ridge. He never did. So we knew he was down somewhere over there. So we ended up stalking in. We ended up finding him, was able to get him down fairly quickly after that first arrow. So not exactly the perfect hunt that you wish for, but it is archery. It is very difficult, and you hope to do the best that you can do. And being the first one, the sporadic moment, it was just a crazy experience. And I felt very relieved that we finally got one, but also I was like, man, I just wish it was perfect. But it's bow hunting. It doesn't always go perfect. So finally, just to finally get one where I know I'm going home with meat, my family's going to have food. It was really, really cool and really special, and really cool to do it with my uncle and my cousin, to have them there. They helped me. They taught me a lot, and there's obviously a ton to learn still, but it was, my first ever buck ever. I've never rifle hunted, only done archery. And so just to get into it and just to stick with the archery and really try to, just stay true to it and do the best that you can. So at the end of the day, to be able to go out there and bring home food for your family and do it the right way is something to be proud of. So I had a blast on this hunt. And again, thank you to my family who helped me out, and I hope you guys enjoy this video, and be looking forward to this archery elk hunt. And a lot of pressure, but it's going to be awesome. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.